I think there were many good things that came out of last week's COP26 summit in Glasgow. It seemed at last that the leaders of the nations are beginning to take seriously the care of our planet. And it was also interesting that people began to realize that care for the planet is care for one another. Justice for one another involves getting the best for our planet and for our environment. But there was a downside too. I got the impression that many of the negotiations were conducted on the basis of a kind of competition with each other, a competition in which each nation, especially the wealthy nations, were trying to do the least they could get away with, whereas the more vulnerable and smallest nations were pleading with the powerful nations to do the best that they could for all people everywhere. I was struck as I was watching that with something St. Paul said in his letter to the Romans. He said this: outdo one another in showing honour. Outdo one another in showing honour. In other words, yes, it's marvellous that you will compete with each other, but compete with each other not to get the best for yourself at the expense of everybody else, not to get away with as little as you can in caring for your neighbour, but compete with each other to get the best for your brother or sister. Compete with each other to get the best for those who need it most. This is one of the important contributions that Christians can make to this whole discussion of climate change. Jesus called us to love our neighbour, and somebody Jesus said that to asked, well, who is my neighbour? Jesus' reply showed that our neighbour is the person in need who we can reach out to. My prayer for us this week is that the nations of the world will get the message that we outdo one another in showing honour when we show true regard, even true love for our neighbours in the way that God called us to.